Dear Misty, my parents want to move to a new city, but I don't want to. I hate the school I have to go to if we move. What do I do? Well, darling, unless you're 18, you probably have to go with your family. This actually happened to me as well. As a child, as a very, very young child, my father was an alcoholic and couldn't keep a job. My mother had 5 kids as a very young child. When I was 6 years old, she became a single mother at 23 with 5 kids. And I know she had many, many jobs, sometimes 2 at a time. And long story short, I remember one year, my mom was going through her hope chest and pulling out all of our report cards. She kept all of our report cards. And I remember, until the 4th grade, every report card, every 6 weeks, was from a different school. I was like, Mom, we moved around a lot. Like, I remember moving, but I didn't remember it was that frequently. But yeah, we got evicted a lot. My mom could not keep an apartment, and I think a lot of people felt sorry for her with her 5 kids and were like, maybe like, you can move in here for a while or whatever. But I remember in 4th grade, they discovered that I had dyslexia, and I actually was shipped to a dyslexic school just for dyslexic kids in my 4th grade year. So I remember in 4th grade, I went to a different school, and I actually went to that school even though we moved. My siblings switched schools, but I still had to go to that school. And fortunately, in my new neighborhood, there was a boy who lived like 6 houses down that actually had to go to Naka Valley as well. I think it's called Naka Valley. And I remember we ended up carpooling, and I'd spend the night at his house, and he'd spend the night at my house, and my mom would take him, and his mom would take me, and it was, I guess, symbiotic relationship. And he became my best friend. His name was Aaron Smith. I would love to meet him again. But anyways, yeah, so I ended up going to that school all of my 4th grade year, or the first semester of my 4th grade year. I might have went there, I guess, the last part of my 3rd grade year too, because I think I went there for more than a year. But in the middle of my 4th grade year, I remember it was around my birthday, which is January, we drove from Anchorage, Alaska to Indiana. So I went to high school in Indiana from 4th grade to 11th grade. And this is the longest I've ever went to the same school. And because it was the only high school for the entire county, because I think we moved 4 times in this town. No, maybe it was 3 times. 3 times while I went to Webo, Western Boone. Once we lived in Elizaville, and I lived in Elizaville from 4th grade. I don't remember when I moved. I think I moved when I was in 7th grade. But Webo, I went to Thorntown Elementary School from 4th grade to 6th grade, and then Thorntown and Wells combined for high school. And our high school was 7th grade to 12th grade. So I went to the same high school from 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. And I did all my required education. My senior year was basically planned out. We were going to do Little Shop of Horrors. I was going to play the dentist. To be a dentist. Like, it was all planned out. My senior year was all planned out. I was going to be a peer tutor. I was a peer tutor my junior year too, but working with the special ed children and the learning disability programs in my free periods, I didn't have to do something. I was on the swim team, of course. I was on the swim team from 7th grade on, choir. And then my family got evicted again. And in the 7th grade, my mom married a guy, I think it was 7th grade, maybe it was 6th grade. She married my stepdad. And he was a poor person as well. So now my poor mom and my poor dad and the poor 7 kids, we got evicted from our house. And they were like, well, let's start looking for cheap property. And long story short, they found really cheap property in Burkesville, Kentucky. Now imagine going to a class, going to a high school where your graduating class is like 500 people, and then going to a high school, Cumberland County High School in Burkesville, Kentucky, my senior year, where the entire school was 400 people. From 9th to 12th grade. Oh my God, it was horrible. I hated it too. I don't know what year you are, but I threw a fit. I was very, very mad. I was very, very upset. I did not want to go to Kentucky. Indiana is a northern state, Kentucky's a southern state, redneck, hillbilly, y'all, and reckon, and it was a lot of reasons I tried to come up with, and my parents didn't listen to any of them. I tried to stay with my friends, I tried to stay with relatives. I didn't have any relatives in Indiana, but not many anyway. None in my school district, that's for sure. Long story short, I had to go with my parents. And I made the best out of my senior year. I moved around so much growing up that I learned to make friends quickly. So surprisingly, I was best personality in my senior class. And I say surprisingly because they voted for superlatives pretty quick on. Like, I remember I wasn't there for like maybe 2 or 3 months when they voted on superlatives. And I got best personality. It was a shock to me. But yeah, I tried to meet everyone and be friends with everyone. Even in Thorntown, I was friends with everyone. Like, I would sit one day with the peer tutors, which would be the special ed kids in the learning disability program. One day I would sit with the cheerleaders. One day I would sit with the basketball team. One day I would sit with the drama club. One day I would sit with the International Business Leaders of America club. One day I would sit with the 4-H kids. One day I would sit with the FFA kids. One day I would sit with the choir kids. One day I would sit with the drama kids. Like, every day I sat somewhere else at lunch. Mostly, looking back, everyone's like, wow, you're so popular, you sit everywhere. But the reality is, I felt like I belonged nowhere. Looking back at it, is I constantly was moving because I didn't feel like I belonged. So that's kind of what happened my senior year in Kentucky. So, it was really hard. But, oh, it was so hard to go to that school. It was really weird too because everyone in my school either chewed tobacco or smoked. Hashtag, we're growing tobacco in our farm. Like, who does that? Oh, Kentucky people. But it was amazing. Like, the girls, even cheerleaders were smoking in the girls' bathroom. Like, they didn't even try to hide it. Like, everyone knew. It was just like a big smoking thing. Very different from Indiana. If you got caught smoking, you were reprimanded. But in Kentucky, girl, I think the teachers even smoked in the bathroom. I don't know. It was really gross. But the way I handled it was I made as many friends as I could. I got the best grades that I could. I joined all the clubs that I could. And the second it came time to apply for colleges, I did. And I got out. I went as far as I could. I actually chose a Christian college in Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I thought I was going to get healed. I wanted to be delivered. But that's a whole nother Misty minute. But yeah, long story short, if you've got to move with your family, you've got to move. My advice would be make the best out of it. Do your very best to make friends. Grin and bear it, honey. And I will tell you that the ability to make new friends is something you're going to keep for the rest of your life. You know, the people that never move and never make new friends have it hard in the adult world. Whereas people that can talk to anyone have it a lot easier. So that's a good thing, I guess. But I still wish that I, you know, lived next to the same guy my whole life, or girl, or whatever. And you hear stories about people like that, and that would be nice. I kind of wish that was me. But it's not. Oh well. But I've been in Florida since 2000. That's something to speak about. And I've only moved 3 times since I've been in here. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, you have to do it, darling. I mean, unless you run away and become homeless, and I would not suggest that. Grin and bear it. Loving you is easy.